hey there! Welcome to Fountain Springs. We're so glad you're spending part of your weekend with us. My name is Christy, and we're going to get things kicked off here in just a moment with the band coming out to lead us in a few songs. The lyrics will be up on the screen so you can sing along and engage in our experience with us. After that, one of our pastors will come out to share a great message. All in all, we'll be here for just about an hour. If you have kids with you, we want to let you know that we've got fantastic kids programming happening throughout the entire service. It's safe, it's secure, and most importantly, your kids are going to have a blast. There's still time to check them in. Just head to the kids area past the lobby. A volunteer would love to help check your child in. With all of that being said, we're going to kick things off here in just a minute. Find your seats if you haven't already, and we'll get started shortly.
Would you please stand and sing with us? There were walls between us. By the cross you came and broke them down. You broke them down. Try this. There were chains around us. By your grace we are no longer bound. No longer bound. You called me out of the grave. You called me into the light. You called my name and then my heart came alive. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Oh, 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 oh. Feel the darkness shaking. All the dead are coming back to life. Oh, back to life. Hear the song awaken. All creation singing, we're alive. 'Cause you're alive. You called me out of the grave. You called me into the light. You called my name and then my heart came alive. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. And what a love we found. Death can't hold us down. We shout it out. We're alive 'cause you're alive. And what a love we found. Death can't hold us down. We shout it out. We're alive 'cause you're alive. And what a love we found. Death can't hold us down. We shout it out. We're alive 'cause you're alive. All right, let's put our hands together. Love is great. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens. Your love is Let's keep those hands going. Let's sing about the faithfulness of our God and the grace that saves us. In tenderness he saw us, weary and sick with sin, and on his shoulders brought us back to his fold again. While angels in his presence stand, until the courts of heaven reign. Oh, the love that sought us. Oh, the blood that bought us. Oh, the grace that brought us to the fold of God. Grace that brought us to the fold of God. He died for us while we were sinning, needy and poor and blind. He whispered to assure us, I found thee, thou art mine. We've never heard a sweeter voice. It makes our aching hearts rejoice. Oh, the love that sought us. Oh, the blood that bought us. Oh, the grace that brought us to the fold of God. Grace that brought us to the fold of God. Upon his grace we'll daily ponder and sing anew his praise with all adoring wonder. His blessings we retrace. It seems as if eternal days are far too short to see his praise. Oh, the love that saw us. Oh, the blood that bought us. Oh, the grace that brought us to the fold of God. Grace that brought us to the fold of God. Gotta sing this out. Oh, the love that sought us. The blood that bought us. Oh, the grace that brought us to the fold of God. One more time, let's sing it out. Grace that brought us to the fold of God. Yeah. Let's sing this out, walking around these walls. Walking around these walls, I thought by now they'd fall, but you have never failed me yet. Waiting for change to come, knowing the battle's won. For you have never failed me yet. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You've never failed me yet. I know the night won't last. Won't last. Your word will come to pass. My heart will sing your praise again. Jesus, you're still enough. Keep me within your love. Will sing your praise again. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You've never still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You've never failed me yet. I believe our God is in the business of changing lives. And we've seen him do amazing things. And I believe that we will continue to see him do amazing things. So as we sing this out, let's sing with full confidence that our God is a God of second chances, who changes lives. He's done it in the past and he'll continue to do it. Let's sing this out. I've seen you move. I've seen you move. You move the mountains, and I believe I'll see you do it again. You made a way where there was no way, and I believe I'll see you do it again. I've seen you move. You move the mountains, and I believe I'll see you do it again. Sing this out, your promise. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You've never failed. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence.
good, so good. Oh, let the King of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. Oh, he is my song. Let the King of my heart be the fire inside my veins, the echo of my days. Oh, he is my song. Let the King of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. Oh, he is my song. Let the King of my heart be the fire inside my veins, the echo of my days. Oh, he is my song. 'Cause you are good, good. Oh, you are good, good. Oh, you are good.
Never gonna let me down. You're 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 never gonna let me down. You are good, oh good. You're so good. You are good, good. Oh, you are good, so good. Oh, you are good, 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 good. You're never gonna let me down. 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 Thank you for that today. Thank you guys so much for singing with us. You can go ahead and grab a seat.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Todd, and I'm so excited that you joined us tonight. And if you're brand new with us, and I'm really happy you're here, because you may be wondering, like, what's up with all the shirts and the Love Week stuff? What is happening? Well, a lot's happening, actually. We've got this next week is all Love Week, and it is an incredible week where we go into our city and we simply just serve them. And if you're wondering, like, why did you start this? Because we simply wanted to be a church that was for the community. It did something. There was a question that was asked when I first came on staff that just has stuck with me. Because we were reading a book, and in this book, it simply asked this. It was like, okay, if the church was to close its doors, would the community care? And that just resonated with me to where I'm like, we've got to do something about that. I don't want to be a church where the community wouldn't care if it existed or not. No, that's not okay. And I tried to make it more personal in my life. I was like, what about my neighborhood? What about the places I work? What about just the people God has put in my life? The purpose behind that. Would they care if I were to move somewhere else? And so that has been kind of this, okay, we've got to do something with this. And so as a church, we do this every year to where we take a week and go, let's have a mission trip to our city. And so I wanted to share with you some of the projects that are going on and share with you kind of what this looks like. And so one of the projects that we're doing is called for Full Circle, and it's a program that is put on by Behavioral Management Services. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be kind of remodeling their playroom, because this group comes along moms who are going through recovery, needing some classes, just needing some help to get back on their feet. And so what they do is come alongside and be like, hey, we still want you to be a family, we want to take care of your kids. And so as a church, we're going to go, hey, how can we serve you? And they say, hey, if you could do the playroom, that would be great. So that's what we're doing. And another project is we're helping an elderly woman who needs a wheelchair ramp for her house. And so that way she will be able to have more accessibility to get to her house and make it a lot easier for her ability just to make things happen. And so I look at those and I go, man, those are two incredible projects just for us to be a part of, and there's so many. And church, here's what I would encourage you to do. You may have sat on this on your way in, but there's that card. And for us to do this, for us to make this happen, it has to be a sacrifice. So we go, we're going to sacrifice our time. And so if you have time this next week, I would encourage you to fill it out, be a part of these projects, and be a part of just showing love to this community. Because it's even interesting, I was doing my devotions recently, and that word love came up. I was reading 1 Corinthians 13. And what I understand, like if you study the Bible, the word love means it's agape, and agape simply means an unconquerable desire to do good for another person. I simply go, man, that is a great definition and a great picture of what we're doing, because regardless of what people believe, regardless if they even like us or not, we're going, we want to love you. That's what these projects are for. That's what we want the community to know. And so if you've got time, I encourage you. But some of you may be like, man, I've got vacation. I've got things. My schedule is packed. I don't know if I can. You can still be a part of this. And you can give. And there are many ways to give here, because we need resources to be able to do these projects. So if you want, you got online, you got text to give, and we even got giving envelopes right there in the back seat. And so this gives you that opportunity to kind of go, okay, I'm going to do that. But here's what I'd like to do just to kind of lead into this next time. I think it's important for us to respond. When God puts something like this in front of us, it's either we go, oh, that's cool, or we go, I've got to be a part of this. And so for some of you, I think you need to fill out that card because you go, I'm going to make time for this. Or some of you go, I need to fill out the giving portion of this because that's what I want to do. And here, when I pray, you can respond in that way. But I simply just want to pray over the week and pray over what God's going to do. So let's pray. Dear God, we thank you so much for being the God that you are and showing us what love truly looks like. I thank you for that idea of agape, God, because you showed that to us. While we were sinners, you chose to love us. And you showed that through your actions by sending your son and dying on the cross for us. God, we didn't deserve that. But that's what love truly looks like. And so, God, may we show this kind of love to our community. May we show the Black Hills what love can truly look like. And God, may it be some simple actions, some simple acts of service, some even just giving. God, may all those things point these people that we are going to serve and this community that's going to see it to go, there is a God. He is real and he exists and he is full of love. So God, we thank you for this opportunity. May we honor you and give you the glory, and may this rest of the service, God, may it bring honor and glory to you. We pray all this in your name. Amen.
Each year, we designate an entire week to serve all day, each day, showing love to families, schools, and nonprofits, both locally and globally. We call this week Love Week, and it is one of the tangible ways we as a church can lead the way in being irrationally generous to our community. Each day is split up into morning, evening, and kid-friendly projects. We hope to have you, your family, and your friends sign up and serve alongside each other by picking one or more times to go out and serve. From painting and gardening to serving meals and construction, God can use your gifts to impact and change lives. Sign up today to help and show our community who Jesus is. In the middle of Love Week, we're going to take a moment to rest and celebrate what God has been doing by having a worship night out in the community. We'd love to have you join us to worship together at Main Street Square. Check out the event on our app or our Facebook page today.
Well, welcome. If you don't know, I'm playing my part. I mean, I got the red shirt on today for Love Week. If you're brand new and you're like, I still don't get it, I want you to listen to the sermon. If you're not brand new, I would still like you to listen to the sermon. I'm going to do my best to share with you the heart behind Love Week. If it's brand new to you, you need to know that it's imperative that a church care about where it's at. I think for far too long, churches have been notorious for not caring about people the way Jesus cared about people. And so our agenda is to show people who Jesus is. So I hope that you'll tune into this in a way that maybe your objective is simply just to learn about Jesus. So you're like, I'm busy, I can't do Love Week. But I think you got time to learn about Jesus. And so I hope you'll lean into that. I want to start off talking about art. I know that's weird and a weird transition, but just follow me. 500 years ago, a painter decided to paint multiple and a whole series of paintings, different ways that kids play. For example, one of the paintings was a little girl playing with a doll. Another one were some kids spinning a top, if you remember the pointy thing and you twist it and you watch it. Another one was an iPad. I'm just kidding, by the way. Another one was a kid playing on a fence, because that was fun. I don't know if you've ever played on a fence, just climbing it. Obviously, you've not. It's a blast. One of them I want to show you because it has something to do with what we're talking about. It's called Dethroning the King. Odd name. I don't know if you imagine inviting your friends, hey, you want to go play Dethrone the King? You're like, I think that's illegal. But this thing way back, where here's the agenda. The kids started at the bottom of a hill. They raced to the top of the hill. The kid who got to the top of the hill first was king, and then the objective was to throw that kid off the hill. Many of us, we actually played this game, King of the Hill. Maybe you wait for it to snow. But I remember at recess, this was one of the things, is you played King of the Hills, and whoever got there first, and then we would beat each other up. It was awesome. I thought, now that I think about it, I'm not sure how the recess teachers let us keep playing, but maybe it was just using our energy. But King of the Hill, you're probably at least familiar with the concept of King of the Hill, the idea that the goal is to get to the top and basically defend your hill, right? Like you win if you're the last one there, the final one there. Little did we know as kids that would be a way to actually live life, right? That I don't know if you've ever worked with a person like that, where they don't care about you, they just want the next level. Maybe it's like your family, where you've got someone in your family that everything centers on them, and everything has to function in accordance to what they want and what they feel like, kind of king or queen of the hill. Little did we know that it would leak all over the place. And many of us, I know none of us, were like, yeah, I just know people who live that way. Little did we know how dramatic that would play out in our lives. Some of us feel like that's our job in life, that the only way to succeed is to be king of the hill. Some of us have been wounded by people who just pushed us down. And in fact, I think the hill conversation goes even deeper. Let me share with you, it's a common statement. It's old. I researched and tried to find out where it came from. The statement is this a hill you want to die on? They say that it's got some military origins to it. But you probably have heard this, that if there's something in your life that you're like, I'm going to defend that, fight for that, I'm going to be all about that, this is a statement often used for that. Is this a hill you want to die on? Maybe you've had an argument with someone, maybe at work or family, and you're like, is this a hill you want to die on? This is saying, is this something that you want to give your life to, right? Like, do you want to fight for it? I think about it. You've got stuff in your life where if you were out in public and someone did such and such or said such and such, you'd be like, wait a minute, stop it. No. There's other things you're like, I'm just going to keep quiet. I'm not going to be a part of that. There's things, circumstances, values that you'll say, I will die on this hill. So I'm going to ask you, don't answer out loud, I'm going to ask you, what's your hill? What are you giving your life to right now? Not like, what do you hope that it will be one day? Right now, what have you been spending your time even thinking about, processing? What do you fight for? What do you sacrifice for? What do you stand up for? What's your hill? Some of you are already thinking like, I think, well, the pastor's making me think right now. Family. Maybe it's your family. That's the hill that you would fight for. Maybe it's your job. You're like, you know what? Everything's going to go into that. I'm going to be all about that. You have your own list. I want you thinking about what your hill is. I want you to go further. I hope you're thinking about, is it a worthy hill to die for? Or flip it, is it a worthy hill to live for? While you're thinking, there's a moment that Jesus had a mom and her two sons, grown-up sons, kind of, and they approach him, and in the interaction with Jesus, there's a hill that's really obvious that I thought we could learn from this. I'll bring you into the story. Then the mother of James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came to Jesus with her sons, okay? She knelt respectfully to ask a favor. What is your request, he asked. Now, the reason I'm not showing you the rest of it just yet, put yourself in the moment. You're in front of Jesus. He's looking at you. You're looking at him. You notice there's even a kneel down moment where they are close. And he says, what would you like? I mean, the Aladdin movie is out. I don't know if you like Aladdin, but you can even somewhat visualize this concept. I mean, I don't know what you would ask a genie, but think about what you'd ask Jesus. Some of you, you're Vikings fans, and I know what you'd ask for. And Jesus would tell you, not possible. I can't do that. But seriously, think about what you're in front of Jesus. You believe wholeheartedly that he is God. He walked on water, raised the guy back to life, raised himself back to life. I mean, come on. If you're in front of him and he's like, what would you like? I think many of us are like, I need to think a moment. Here's what I can tell you what you would say. Not specifically, but you would reveal the hill you have in your life. You'd reveal in that moment what you're living for, right? I mean, that's what would happen. Well, here's how it plays out. She replied, in your kingdom, just so you know, you're like, well, maybe she didn't know she was talking to like Jesus. In your kingdom, please let my two sons sit in places of honor. Honor was a big, big deal then. Next to you, one on your right and the other on your left. She was saying, I want my boys to have power and prestige, right? I want them to have authority over others for all of eternity. That was her hill. Now, I don't know if you're judging her, or maybe some of you are like, that's a good one. I can tell you that if you were to be in front of Jesus and he were to ask you, what do you want, that you would reveal your hill, and it's one way or the other. It's a fork in the road. It's a major question. Let me show you. It's either self-gratification or self-sacrifice. That's what you're going to reveal. In that moment, whether you like it or not, some of you are like, can I have both? No, that's not how it works. Your request, here's what I'm going to live for, here's what I'm all about, is either going to be self-gratification or self-sacrifice. And let's go for the obvious one, self-gratification. If you're afraid to admit that might be a major part of your life, I will just admit it right now, that this is a daily battle. Most of us, all of us fight this. That when you go after what you want, when you're fighting for the hill, what you're living for is often what we want. And self-gratification, do you know what it has a tendency to go to? Immediate gratification. It kind of progresses a little bit to where after a while you make this decision for yourself and then this decision, but then you get impatient and you begin to kind of evolve into a lifestyle where you have demands, and those demands need to be met instantaneously. So everywhere you go, every relationship you have, where you work, where you go to school, is all about immediate gratification. We live in a society that's feeling this. I thought I'd give you some examples, okay? Here's some. 5 guys. Okay. So on Mother's Day, I'm trying to be a good husband. I said, Katie, what would you like, for lunch, the special lunch? And in my head, I'm thinking, like, she's going to want me to, like, make something, put like a salad together or something with fruit and stuff, and then I'll go to McDonald's later. But this is what I'm going to make this awesome, like, light meal for her. And they're like, what do you want? And she's like, I'm not sure. And I was like, okay, well, we'll wait for you. And eventually, she's like, I'd like 5 guys. I'm like, I love you. I love you so much. More than ever before in the history of us knowing each other, that on Mother's Day, you would pick 5 guys. If you've never had the Cajun fries at 5 Guys, you have yet to live. It's amazing. You don't seem to be like, I'm just telling you, it's amazing. Well, here's the deal. 5 Guys, many other restaurants are for this, but you can order on an app so you don't have to wait when you show up. Some of you like to wait. I know. I know the rookies because we'll go in and they're standing in a line. You're like, we ordered our meal on the app, paid for it, showed up and be like, what's up? I'm here. And they're like, cool, we're glad you're here. We've made your meal. We're going to do your fries right now. I'm like, sweet. And you get to just eat right there. There's no waiting. It's amazing. You should try it sometime. Maybe not at 5 Guys because you'll have a heart attack too, but it's nonetheless. Amazon has changed the game. There used to be a day that if you wanted something and you could not find it in town, you would order it somewhere, and they would say, 2 to 4 weeks, a month later, you might get it. Amazon's, changed it, and you need to know why they changed it. The same reason restaurants are changing right now, because you and I, our demands are changing. We don't want to wait. We want immediate right now. And so retailers, restaurants are all evolving their business models to match your and our demands, going, I want it and I want it right now. Netflix was one of the leaders in this. There was a day if you were watching a show, you'd watch 1 episode and you had to wait until the next week to watch it. And if you missed it, you missed it. And you had to watch commercials throughout the whole thing. Netflix is like, people want it right now, so you can watch the whole season, no commercials, in one day, if that's your thing. Now, I'm not telling you these things are bad. Some of you are like, so we're not allowed to use Amazon anymore? Pastors, no. All I'm trying to show you is that we live in a world right now, and you're guilty of it, as am I, of demanding. And do you know that it's extremely difficult to demand that you have certain media at a certain time, demand that you have certain food at a certain time, demand you get certain packages arriving at a certain time, and demand. It's incredibly difficult to demand that way and turn it off in a relationship. Many of us are transferring our demand for certain things to play out at certain times, and we're plugging it in to our marriages. We're plugging it into our kids. We demand certain things. In fact, I know multiple people in the education world who now tell me that parents are different nowadays. And they now go to principals and teachers with high levels of demand. Do you know what a teacher's toughest part of their job nowadays is? You and I as parents. Because we want on-demand, immediate gratification. And Here's what's in danger. I'll show you the consequences to this. Consistent self-gratification makes selfishness hard to resist. Makes it incredibly hard to resist. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it makes it very difficult that when you and I walk into a store or we get our media in certain ways, in immediate ways, it's very difficult to not let that leak out into the rest of life to where we become pretty selfish, where every place we go, every relationship we have, we lead with what we want and when we want it. And then you have culture saying, that's a good way to live. Go after what you want and how you want it and get it when you want it. And it doesn't match up. In fact, let me take you back to the story with Jesus. But Jesus answered by saying to them, you don't know what you're asking. I would agree wholeheartedly. It wasn't like, oh, that's a good question. That's really good. I'm really proud of you right now. He didn't say that. Are you able to drink from the bitter cup of suffering I'm about to drink? I love their answer. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, we can totally do that. They had no idea the concept of what was about to play out. That Jesus did say, oh, you're gonna drink from that cup. Can we admit, can you be open enough and honest enough to say that many of the things that you've wanted in life, you actually learned that you couldn't handle it when you wanted it? Many of us wanted to drive when we were 9, thank God no one allowed that. Or some of you, maybe they did. Do you understand that many of us are craving and wanting things that we were not destined to handle or participate in? It's either the wrong time or just the wrong thing. And Jesus knew this, and he knew that what they were asking, they didn't even get what they were asking. And many of the things that we're going for, I want it now. He's like, no, that's not good for you and good for others. In fact, I think this conversation went so the wrong direction. Jesus is like, all right, disciples, circle up, lesson time. And this is where he took them. But Jesus called them together and said, hey, you know that the rulers in this world lord it over their people, and officials flaunt their authority over those under them. But among you, it will be different. Stop for a moment. If you call yourself a Christian, according to Jesus, you and I are supposed to live differently. Now, and that isn't just like, hey, don't do that, don't drink that, don't say that. It's bigger than that. But among you, it will be different. How? Whoever wants to be a leader among you must be your servant. And whoever wants to be first among you must become your slave. I don't know if this would be legal or not, but I'd love for all employees to require every single new employee to have to do the worst, most disgusting parts of the job. Not even their jobs, just whatever's disgusting and difficult to do for the first month. You see, does this describe how you approach your work? When you show up to work, are you there going, yes, I get to be a slave today? Most of us are like, that's your complaint about work. Do you show up to even your family where you're all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can't wait to serve my family today because I want to be different. Many of us are not approaching our relationships or school or anything like that this way, yet Jesus said, you want to follow me? You want to do this thing? Then be a servant. Be a slave. And then Jesus said something so crazy radical. For even the Son of Man came, not to be served, but to serve others, and to give his life as a ransom for many. He brought us right back to the fork in the road. You remember it? He said, I know the world is normal going, saying, go this direction, go this direction. When you go to work, do your very best so that you can get the next promotion. Don't care about others. You got to focus on yourself. Relationships, same way. Go this. And he's like, I know. That's the normal way to lead other people. Go this way. And he's like, no. I want you to go this way. And then he led by example. He didn't just say, this is what you do. Well, I'm king, though, so this way. Is this the approach you've been taking in life? As you begin, are you being king of the hill of your own hill? Or let me flip this. I think this is what he's saying. If you're going to give your life to a hill, don't choose your own hill. You will never see that in a commercial. Yet Jesus himself said, you want to know how to live life? Stop dying for your own hill. Stop being all about yourself. And many of us are like, but I got to be all about myself, or no one's going to help. No one's going to be a part. I got to fight for myself. And let me just ask the question. Don't answer out loud. For those of you who, because you need, because you want, and you've got this craving to be seen, that you've decided to fight for it and demand it, is that fulfilling for you? Most of us is like, no, it's not working. You were made with a need to be seen. Sounds a bit like, I'm not sure about that, David. No, you were made, you were designed with a need to be seen and to be known. Not in an arrogant way. You were born with a need for community, for people around you, relationships. You were born with it. You need it. You crave it, actually. Even those of you who say, no, I'm introverted, I just need a good book. No, you need people. If you've ever come home from work or maybe just in your own home, you just feel invisible. You feel perhaps that no one sees you and acknowledges you. I think that's actually a God-given need that's being twisted by the devil. And many of us, because we are not being seen and acknowledged and affirmed, many of us are struggling with this. So we think the way to respond to that is to then, I'm not being seen, so I'm going to demand that I be seen, and I want it now. I'm going to fight for it. I'm going to push back. No. Here's what Jesus has called us to do. Resisting the need to be seen. Helps you see others. Many of us are not resisting the need. We are indulging in it. We are building our lives on it. My guess is you have a friend here. Let's just call them your friend. They might have your same name, like first name and last name, and same social security number. But this friend is oftentimes not resisting the need to be seen. Some of you are still, this is difficult because you're like, if I resist it, no one will do it. I disagree. Let go. And spend your life on other people's hills. In fact, Jesus worded this in a different way that I think you'll resonate with. So now I'm giving you a new commandment. Love each other. Do you notice he doesn't qualify that? You notice there's not like, as long as others have appropriately and adequately loved you. No. Love each other. Just as I have loved you. There's the example. Just as I have loved you. There's the whole, I came as a ransom for you. Just as I have loved you, you should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you're my disciples. This should mess with you. It messes with me. Let me ask you, do not answer this out loud. Please do not. If I asked your coworkers what you have currently been proving, I wonder what their answers would be. Ooh, better yet, the people that live in the same home that you live in. I wonder what you've been proving to them. Have you been proving by how you love them that you are a disciple of Jesus Christ, in love with Jesus, following Jesus? This is where I'm like, please don't ask me that question because that'll mess some stuff up. So what do we do? How do we play this out? Let me give you some guidance here. To love Jesus well, love like Jesus. To take that commandment and even the greatest commandments, to plug and play the whole thing. How do we do this? To love Jesus well, to love God well, love like Him, sacrificially, self-sacrificially, where wherever you show up, whether you're buying something at a store, or you're talking to someone you really care about, or you're at work struggling with someone you don't feel like you care about, love like Jesus. Self-sacrificial, going, it's not my hill today, it's their hill, and I'm okay with that today. It leads you to a question that I do not know if you will like. In fact, some of you are going to think, it's going to be so elementary. I don't think it is. It leads you to a question you ought to ask yourself. Do I care? I'm going to pause here because I'm afraid that some of us are like, yeah, of course I care. Stay here for a moment. Do you care about anyone and everyone, or do you have qualifiers? Do they have to do their job really well for you to then love them? Do they have to be nice to you for you to love them? Do they have to love you first before you love them back? You see the difference between self-sacrifice and self-gratification. Do I care? Let me help you with the story. I told this years ago. Father Damien felt called to show people who Jesus is. And so here's what he did, is he went to an island in Hawaii. I've been praying for this for a long time. No offense, South Dakota is awesome, but Hawaii sounds awesome. No, I'm joking. Well, he did go to Hawaii, but it wasn't the good island. In fact, there was an island there that was considered an island of exile where people with leprosy, contagious disease, they were just put there. You went there to die. It was chaos there. Because everyone knew that they were going to die early and they had disease, they were contagious. Everyone just rejected them and no one liked them. So they went there and it was complete chaos. Can you imagine a setting like that where like, I'm just here to die, just here to die. So then you're like, well, I don't care what I do or how I treat people. It was horrible. Father Damien went there to show people who Jesus is. I wonder how you and I would do that. Show up to the island. Would you get close to them? Because it's contagious. You get what they got, you die. That's how that works. No one comes in and rescues you, you just die. Maybe you'd like write letters to them and send it. No, he got mixed in with them on purpose. He knew that if he tried to show him who Jesus is from afar, it would come off like that he didn't care about him. And one of the things he did always moves me. Anytime I ever tell a story. See, people are there to die, right? Well, what was happening, people would literally die, and they would just stay there. No one would do a ceremony. No one would bury them. There's very little respect. So what he spent his time doing, and they estimate that he built over 2,000 coffins and would do a funeral for them, honoring them in the moment. He would also at times be amongst them, and someone would have a wound, and so he would bandage the wound. You shouldn't do this, by the way, unless you really care, because you could get leprosy doing that. And he began to just constantly show them who Jesus is. One day he got up to preach because he preached regularly, and got up and they were gathered, and he opened up, and here's how he opened up the sermon. He said, "We lepers." He had never said that before. Because he couldn't say we, because he didn't have leprosy until he got leprosy. In fact, whenever I tell that story, I've talked to some folks and they struggle with it because that seems irresponsible, right? Why would you do that, man? Like just from before? No, he cared. And so it wasn't self-gratification, it was self-sacrifice. Now, does that mean that you need to move to some remote island, helping people who have diseases that might give you the disease itself? Is that the moral of that story? No, the moral of that story is to challenge you and I. Do you care enough to sacrifice some of the things in your life? I think it leaves us, honestly, if you want to be really open in church, with many of us going, I don't know. We're like, I don't know if I don't know if I care. I'd like to care, but I don't know if I care. So I want to land here with some wisdom. If you struggle caring, just start contributing. It doesn't mean that if you're like, well, I want to care, so I'm going to start the nonprofit that I've been dreaming about, and I'm going to leave everything, quit everything, run away and do that. Maybe that's what God wants you to do, but no. I think it's where you and I say, I want to care, I ought to care. People matter. I need to live like a servant, like a slave. I need to pay attention to other people's hills, and to do so, you just start contributing somewhere, somehow. Sometimes as simple as at home. Just start contributing when you don't feel like it. But I do have an opportunity for you. We're there now. It's called Love Week. Love Week is simply an opportunity for people who say that they follow Jesus, love Jesus, or all about Jesus. It's an opportunity for us to contribute in the name of Jesus so that others would know who Jesus is. So we can even prove, in a sense, that we are followers of Jesus. Let me tell you where Love Week came from. 11 years ago last weekend, Katie and I moved to Rapid City, South Dakota. And I remember we moved here at a similar time as the director of the Red Cross. And so he and I got connected, and he had a new job and was in a new area, and I had a new job and was in a new area. We just connected. We would sometimes go have lunch at Wendy's and just talk about life. I remember one day he called me and said, "Hey, I'm at a work site. You want to come see what I do?" I was like, "Sounds cool." Went over where he was working. He was working in a neighborhood. What was weird was when I showed up, I knew his vehicle. The vehicle next to his vehicle was a 15-passenger van connected to a trailer. On the van and on the trailer, it had the name of a Baptist church from Texas. It's like, wonder what they're doing up here. And I asked him, I was like, "Hey, are they with you?" He's like, "Yeah, they're with me. We do this all year round. Church groups from all over in the nation come to Rapid City and do missions trips. I'm like, I've never lived in a place where people did missions trips to the place I live in. I was always like, let's go to Africa, right? Or let's go to South America, or let's go to where there's tornadoes and we go help clean stuff up, right? And I had not lived in a place where regularly churches from all over the nation felt like our city, our region needed them to come up and do mission trips. I was like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm a pastor of a church. Got in my car. It was the end of the day. I headed home. And it's those car rides. I don't know if you've ever had a car ride where God won't stop talking to you. You even try to turn the music up a little louder. It's like, I don't want to talk about that. I just want, and God began to convict me. In essence, asking me if I would lead a church that would care about its own city and not just the ones that we weren't currently in. I've been on many mission trips. I've been all over the globe. But it was that day that I was convicted that we ought to be a church that, yes, pays attention to the needs that are beyond our own city, but we must never forget about our own city. That perhaps the reason God put a church like Fountain Springs Church in Rapid City was the point was, hey, I want you to address the needs of people in the Black Hills. I know it seems like, David, that was news to you. I grew up in church where you went far away to help people. So that birthed what's called Love Week, where we try to help in our region as much as possible. We've been in over 40 schools around the whole region. By the way, if you're like, oh, that sounds awesome. It wasn't awesome at first. They said no because we were a church. The only way to fix no is to give them donuts, and that's what we did. We gave them donuts. And over time, some of the principals were like, well, actually, we do need this painted. We do need this fixed. And if you don't know this, many of the area schools, we've redone their teacher workrooms. We've painted their hallways and their classrooms. We've done landscaping outside of the buildings. We've also gone to nonprofits and helped nonprofits who didn't have the funds to do what they needed to do or the volunteerism to do all that needed to be done. We've gone to people's homes and helped and invested. And what's cool about it, we don't do a fundraiser for this. You're like, where's the cookie dough you're going to sell me? Unfortunately, we don't have any. No, what happens is we budget it, and when you and I give to Fountain Springs Church, it pays for it. I think that's what the church was supposed to originally be doing. Caring about its own city. Meeting the needs of people in their own city. That's an opportunity for you to contribute. So let me return. Let me return to the hill. Is the hill you're currently willing to die for worth dying for? Is the hill you're currently living for worth living for? My challenge is that you'll pay attention to other people's hills. And I think more people will hear about who Jesus is if you do. Let me pray for you. Heavenly Father, may you stop us in our tracks as a church the moment we stop caring about people. God, the moment that we stop caring about people, if that were to ever happen, would you close our doors and shut this church down? Lord, would you put in our souls a conviction that anyone and everyone really does matter. Lord, help us to be a church that constantly looks into the lives of others and looks for ways to be servants to them. Lord, help us to apply that to our own families, our schools, our workplaces, our friends, wherever we are. Help us to be a group of people that constantly proves by our lifestyle that we love you. God, thanks for the opportunity. I pray, Lord, that your favor would be on Love Week. God, would you accomplish what you want accomplished, and we, even before it plays out, glorify you and honor you for whatever you choose to do. God, would you provide as needed? But Lord, we acknowledge now that you're awesome. You're the one that changes lives. So thank you for what you're about to do this week. We submit ourselves to you. Use us however you'd like. We pray this in Jesus, his name. Amen.
being for the years that I've been here, I know this week has always been pretty catalytic for our church. But what's been more impressive to watch is just conversations that I've had either with friends, acquaintances, or just people that I kind of randomly met. And just, they have completely different belief systems. I would even say they don't even believe in Jesus. But when Fountain Springs come up, it's interesting what they say. Because the whole phrasing that comes out is just, that church cares about the community. It's because of this. And so to me, that's what's powerful about this. It's changing people's perspectives on church, on God, on what Christians should be, and what they can be. And so that's why I love this. And I hope that you'll be a part of it. And fill this out. And all you got to do is go to the Love Week booth. They'll answer any questions that you have. But church, this week will be incredible. It'll be awesome to see what God is doing. So I hope that we'll see you during this week. Have a good one. We'll see you during Love Week.
So take me out and start